So here in America, we're all racist. Whoa, that didn't even sound right. Let's try this again. In America, they are all racist. Well, uh, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. But who's they? And why you saying we? We are not. I don't know what you're talking about. But what am I talking about? We're about to get into it. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Solutions Podcast. As always, your host, Ramzy. Now, I do want to apologize because I did come a little strong with that entry, but there's a reason for it. There's a purpose. The purpose is because that's going to help drive the point home. Trust me, it is. One thing is, I feel a lot of people would not like to be called such a negative, disgusting word. Okay? But I needed to utilize that in order to actually get to the main point of today's episode and the lesson that I want to teach y'all, which is utilizing the power of I. Now, y'all know me, I'm still the same OG, just a bit low key. So I will ensure that I give credit where credit is due. This is not necessarily my concept. This is just a concept that I have adopted in order to be successful in communications. But I want to read y'all something. And this thing that I'm going to read y'all is an excerpt from the Book of Human Relations Training. And this is the eighth edition. And this book actually came out in 1999. I wonder how old were y'all? Because I know how old I was, and I'm not going to date myself. Not too much, not too little. I feel like I was just right. But I do want to read y'all this, and we're going to dissect it. This is called The Power of I. The most important change you could make in the use of language would be to use the term I when speaking for yourself. The use of I is the single most powerful, clear, and direct behavior a person can choose. For example, if I say, when you stand up in front of new group, let me correct myself. When you stand up in front of a new group, you feel tense. I'm distancing myself from the situation when the group would be better expressed with, when I stand up in front of a new group, I feel tense. Did y'all see what I did there? Did y'all see what I did there? Now, instead of distancing myself from the situation, I actually owned it because I mean, this is not me. This is what I'm reading from the excerpt, but it is to understand the concept of it. Because the truth is, does everybody feel tense when they're in front of a new group? The answer is probably no. The answer is probably no. I know, speaking for myself, I don't. I don't. I speak publicly for a living, and I have been in leadership roles since I was 19 years old. And again, I told you I'm not going to date myself of how old I am now. But the point is, I have been in leadership roles for a long time where I had to sit in front of people that are older than me, quote unquote, wiser than me, people that are younger than me, a wide variety of a diverse demographic that I have always had to be in front of. So if you ask me today if I would feel tense in front of a group, the answer would be no, because I do this all the time. Now, if the same question is asked of, let's say, my daughter, her reality is a little bit different. And I don't even have to tell you, or I don't have to speak for her. You could see it in the behavior when there's a new group, how her behaviors change. They become more timid, starts looking down other places, all other directions. Somebody that might not have been exposed to those same experiences as you might have the feeling of, hey, I feel tense in front of a new group. And that could be a fact for the majority of people. I do not know. I just know, if I'm speaking for self, I would say I do not feel tense in front of a new group. Now let's continue on with this reading. Take in mind, people, I'm going back to the excerpt, okay? The second statement is undeniably authentic. I know how I feel. This usage also invites you to respond because I have not spoken for you. I empowers and distinguishes the speaker's view from another person's statement in a way that is universal. So the term you does not or is not reserved for you when you're referring to others. That's a lot of you. So what does that mean? If we're having a conversation and I say things like, that's implying that you know what I'm talking about, and your response can be looked at as in agreement to my statement, even when you do not agree with it. Now, how does that look like? Pretty simple. Going back to my initial example, you're from America. You know that everybody's racist. Or like, nah, homie, I do not know that everybody's racist. So that changes the context of the conversation. So if my view, which it is not, I just want to make sure that I point that out there. If it is not, but if my view was, I feel that everybody's racist in America, then that invites the speaker to say, oh, that's how you feel? Cool. I do not. This is why. And then we start opening the conversation to things that are more important or to different viewpoints, but that actually gets an engaging conversation that we're able to have in order to better build that relationship, that bond, but it also empowers you to speak for yourself and it empowers them to speak for themselves and to share different opinions. That's what at least that's what I got from this. But again, I read it to y'all, so y'all interpret it how you feel, but it's pretty close to that. So it's a very very powerful statement, and I tell you, like, I'm not just making this episode just because I have nothing to do. The reason why I'm making this episode is because it was a very good point. It was a very good point. I tell you, since the day that I learned it, I have not stopped using it. Now let's wrap up this excerpt, okay? Not the episode, but the excerpt, okay? The last paragraph of this says, similarly, the use of impersonal pronouns such as it or that can also distance me from my message and myself. Ownership language helps me express myself better and to communicate with you more directly, more clearly. The use of I connects me with myself. Examples to consider: that feels good to I feel good. It hurts with I hurt. You hurt me to I hurt. Very, very, very powerful stuff. And take in mind, this is just a page with three minute paragraphs with such a powerful message. Now let's break that down. The last part, let's break it down a little bit, okay? Talking about impersonal pronouns, it, that. It is what it is. Well, is it? What makes you say that? To I feel this event always comes to this resolution. Think about it like that. Or the other one. Oh, the other one. Just imagine talking to a friend or even a spouse and you just disconnect yourself from a situation. Let's say that person really hurt you. And you say, it hurts when you talk about me behind my back. And change it to a more powerful statement. I hurt when you talk about me behind my back. Can y'all hear the difference? And then let's remove the blame. I like that last one. I actually like that last one. And if y'all don't know, I'm freestyling. But I do like that last one. Changing you hurt me to I hurt. Now, back in the day, when I was going through my counseling training, especially when it came to dealing with relationship counseling, that is one thing that I would talk to the couples about, which would be to separate the you from your vocabulary, meaning you did this, you did that because of you. That's a big one. Because of you, And changing that up, it definitely changes the way that couples communicate. Now, how does that look like? And it all ties into the power of I. Now, how does that look like? You always do this. Well, do they always do this? Or I don't like when this behavior is displayed. That takes it away from putting that blame, especially when you're a couple trying to reconnect. Think about it. Think about it. The car is dirty can easily be you never clean the car, or hey, the car is dirty. So putting that it just kind of inadvertently adds blame to that individual. So when I talk to couples, that's the first thing that I analyze. And I analyze that by just listening to the conversation. Well, he never cleans the car. Okay, look at the person. Do you never clean the car? And then I tell them, ask yourself, do they never clean it? Or is it just not clean during the time that you need it to be clean or that you want it to be clean? Now that the house, and I always talk about it. I want to talk about it when it comes to chores and things like that. Imagine just walking home, and it's gonna get a little sexist. This conversation is gonna get a little sexist, but this is this is the show. This is the show, and y'all have worked with me. Y'all know who I am, and you know how I work. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. Come home. Imagine coming home, a man coming home, and the dishes are not done. There's things on the table. Clothes hasn't been washed. And he just looks at the wife and says, "You never washed the dishes. You just left this house a mess. You didn't take care of the laundry." You can say the same message and swap it up a little bit. The dishes are dirty. The house is a mess. The laundry needs to be done. And some of y'all might be thinking, you're dumb. That is an unproductive way to have a conversation. But when tensions are high, the blame has to be removed because saying you implies you are the reason why these dishes are not done. But the truth is, the dishes are not done, and I'm sure everybody contributed to that mess. So taking that and tying it back to the power of it's important. Because now you move forward in the conversation. I don't like it when the dishes are not done. Hmm? Think about it like that. What would your response be compared to you do not wash the dishes and I don't like it? Which one sounds more attacking? Speaking for myself, look at that. I'm practicing what I preach, right? Speaking for myself, I would say the one that includes that you statement. So this lesson, and not to get off subject, but this lesson is one of those lessons that has carried me. And I learned this as an adult. As a matter of fact, I literally learned this last June. It's been a year. I've been practicing it since. And it has been a part of my daily routine. Now, in conclusion, I want to challenge y'all to utilize the power of I want to challenge y'all. So every time you're having a conversation and you catch yourself saying, no, I don't know. Or when we all go to the beach, when we go to the beach, it's a fun place. Maybe for you, not for someone that's scared of sharks, not for someone that can't swim, not for somebody that burns really quick. Think about it. Changing that language can help you build a better understanding with people so they can understand the way that you think and empower them to utilize the same power so you can better understand the way that they are. Now, I can't leave this episode without talking about my, I want to say my biggest fans. But I don't know, but the company that I work with, which is the Solutions Peptides, I do have to add them on. Why? Because they sponsor the show and they help us help you be successful. I'm going to have a full episode on what peptides are for the masses. But when I tell you that company, Solutions Peptides, even though we share a name, there's no relation, is the best in the business, providing the best product. I'm telling you, I am not lying. Not only am I a spokesman for that company, I'm also a customer. And a lot of my friends, close friends, are customers. Peptides are things that you utilize in order to build your overall well being. When Western medicine fails, most of the time peptides don't. As a matter of fact, I just utilized one last week, which was called BP157. And what this peptide did is actually help me recover at a significantly faster rate of a torn bicep. I tore my bicep working out, and I got pictures to prove it. This is no lie, or as the kids say, no cap, right? There's no lie. I tore my bicep, but just not enough to get it surgically repaired. And I knew about this peptide called BP157 that combined with TB500 is what we call a Wolverine stack. I took these peptides for no more than a week and a half. And I tell you, like I was back in the gym going hard on arm day. So these things work, these things are real. Peptides are also where you go to get fat loss, such as the Ozempic, but it's called tirzepatide, or the semaglutide, which is the active ingredient on Ozempic to help y'all lose weight. But anyways, had to shout them out. Thank you everybody that tuned in for the show. Next show we have one of my closest friends coming on. He's gonna talk to us about. I think he talked about spearfishing or something like that. He's gonna educate us on what that is or deep diving on something like that. But I'm sure we're gonna get off subject. But anyways, thank you everybody who tuned in. Go support the show. Comment, like, reach out to me if you have any questions, especially on your peptides. But in anything, if you have any questions, please feel free to hit me back up. And also give me some feedback so I can give y'all better content. Thank you very much, and I am out.